Jacoby. Is it cultural or regional?
It's Jalen, Anthony, Rose.
What up, Dal?
I'm David Jacoby.
Carrier's rocking her Lakers jersey. And on the cool check-in.
Together, we are Jalen and Jacoby. What do?
We get the people.
Everybody was rocking their Lakers jersey yesterday. LeBron James made his Staples Center debut. They had a sellout for a preseason game. Even more than that, in Los Angeles, everybody showed up to the game on time. And in the locker room, the press was crazy. All of this hype and focus and coverage, all surrounding LeBron James and the Lakers. Look at that locker room, Jalen Rose. It looks like the Game 7 of the finals. How does this affect the other players on the team?
So I'm going to get everybody ready for two separate scenarios.
Oh, okay.
It's the scenarios that everything goes terrific and that the Lakers not only become a playoff team, finish in the top 5 in the West, but advance past the first round. And then there's a scenario that this doesn't go so very well. And people like Lance, Rondo, and Beasley, and JaVale McGee don't give the level of productivity that's anticipated. We know that they have some great young prospects, Bell and Ball and Ingram and Kuzma and Hart.
Yeah.
But that dynamic can be combustible. So for me, it's imperative that they get off to a great start.
Well, Magic is already talking about how they're going to get off to a slow start. LeBron's already talking about a slow start. Luke Walton's already talking about a slow start. They've already brought expectations down low, basically saying we are not going to start hot.
They got LeBron now. I bet if he wasn't in tow, if they had the same team from last year, they wouldn't be saying we're going to get off to a good start. They know they got LeBron. So they're doing what you would do, which is smart.
Manage expectations.
Correct. But however, in the West, where seeds number 3 through 9 were only divided by 2 games last year, if you're not getting close to 50-plus wins, you ain't making the playoffs. And getting off to a slow start does not help that journey.
Here's what's going to happen with the Lakers. This team that they start with is not going to be the team they finish with. They're going to add at least 2 players, and they're going to make at least 1 trade. They're going to pick somebody up off that buyout garbage heap, just like other teams do. Like, they're going to change this roster over the course of the season, and I'm not going to say they're going to do a wholesale change like the Cavs did last year, but you're going to see some movement with Rob Pelinka and this roster. Don't you think so?
There's not as much flexibility as you think, unless you're going to give up one of your assets, your young talent, because all of the veterans I just named, they're on 1-year contracts. So their roster, in theory, is full. I named basically everybody on their team except KCP and Wagner.
What about Caruso?
And so, like, the other thing I want to point out is their best 5 players, and take this to your friends when y'all talking ball, won't be able to finish games. And when that dynamic takes place, because who are the 5 best players on the Lakers?
Ingram, LeBron, I want to say Lance, but not. Kuzma.
Okay, stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to check Anthony Davis?
LeBron?
My point exactly. Who's going to check Boogie?
LeBron?
Not going to be able to do it. That's my point. That means either Kuzma or Ingram sometimes going to be on the bench. That's one. Number 2, who plays point guard for the Lakers?
Well, it's a combination of LeBron, Rondo, and Ball.
Okay. That means either Rondo or Ball ain't going to be in the game sometime. And imagine what's going to happen when it's Ball. And somebody puts a microphone in front of one LeVar, who we have not talked about in this dynamic.
LeVar he's tied up to a chair in a basement somewhere in one of LeBron's 2 homes in Los Angeles. So what happened with LeVar?
It's not that anything happened with LeVar.
Look at all those cameras in the locker room, Jalen.
I'm about to give some game. Corporate America decided that they wanted to shut down LeVar Ball from having a voice and from making money for big baller brands.
Who's Corporate America?
So
who's Corporate America?
He's still loud.
Who is Corporate America?
Multimedia decided that they weren't going to interview him anymore to give him the platform to promote him.
See, I think there's a journalistic backlash after all the overseas stuff, there's a bit of a backlash where people said, our company, people said, you guys are overcovering LeVar Ball. And I think that we reacted by undercovering LeVar Ball.
And it's not just this company. That's why I said corporate America. First off, this man trying to catapult his name into a brand of shoes that many people have had on lock for a really long time.
I've never seen anybody wear a pair of those shoes.
Okay. And then the other thing he tried to do is actually be a strong figure with a loud voice. And initially, that was something that media wanted to use to get clicks. Now that those happened, they all get together after the fact and say, why are we making him famous? Why are we putting him on TV? Let's not talk about him at all. Matter of fact, let's just ignore him. And that's the phase we're in right now. And that's why I'm happy we're talking about a guy that I still hope adopts me one day.
When you look at that footage from the locker room in the Staples Center, the Lakers locker room, the idea that there's all this hype surrounding this team and no one's heard from LeVar Ball?
That's
no
my
one's heard
point.
from him?
My point exactly.
Did he just stop having opinions?
My point exactly. And the other thing is, when you see that level of coverage for LeBron James, who's an iconic player, the Los Angeles Lakers, a storied brand, when that marriage happens, you're going to get that level of interest. But that's not going to translate into points on the floor.
Well, let's get back to points on the floor, because you made a really good point. You were like, what's going to happen if Lonzo Ball is sitting at the end of a close game? Well, imagine this scenario. What's going to happen if Rajon Rondo is sitting at the end of a close game? Because that is just as combustible. We've seen it happen before with Rondo.
I'm going to give everybody the template to look for. For the Los Angeles Lakers, the dynamic they're going to have to juggle is when you have so many grizzled vets that have accomplished so much and been through so many wars in the game, and then now you give them a short leash. So now when Lance come out there and he start dancing, but all of a sudden he 0 for 2, 2 turnovers,
what?
he out the game. So instead of playing 20 minutes, he going to have nights he playing 8 minutes. And so that just goes down the line for Beasley, and all of a sudden JaVale McGee gets 2 fouls. And in the West, people always talk about it being a guard-heavy league, and it is. You see so many guards now leading their teams in scoring as well as assists. That's what that really means. There are some really productive centers in today's NBA.
Tons.
Don't sleep. Jokic, Nurkic, Boogie,
Gasol,
AD,
Capella, Steven Adams. There's tons.
The list goes on and on and on. And I'm talking about skill bigs like I named. And then you can't put a guy like LeBron on Adams. He'll get punished. And I know people that don't play the game like, what do you mean? Just elbows and just knees. Just throwing him out of the way for offensive boards. He's just too physically imposing for a guy that's played small forward and power guard his whole life. So you're going to have Wagner or McGee in the game.
Zubac.
So one of those guys going to have to play you minutes.
That's unfortunate. Maybe there'll be like
and my guy from Michigan, he's going to be a productive player, but not championship level just yet.
Well, you remember Media Day.
Yep.
Right? And one of the biggest things that came out of NBA Media Day was Kawhi Leonard's laugh. Now, we clowned Kawhi Leonard for this laugh for like 3 days in a row on this show. And everybody else did too. But here's the thing. Kawhi Leonard addressed how everyone addressed his laugh. Let's listen to Kawhi.
No, but then again, I don't really know what people were thinking. I don't have social media, and I don't read what anyone says. It's not surprising when you have this high of a caliber of player. People tend to look at everything from the terrible.
Jalen Rose. He says that he doesn't have social media, so he didn't even notice that everyone was talking about his laugh. Do you believe Kawhi Leonard?
I got 3 words for you. I told you. You remember what I said. It's one thing to play in a state. It's another thing to perform for a city. It's a total different thing to perform in a different country.
Jalen.
He knows this was happening. He knows this was happening.
He knew that people were clowning him for the laugh.
But he wasn't immersed in it because right now in Toronto, their goal, besides getting ready for the season, is to retain him long term. So you think on their local radio stations and television programs, they're clowning him?
Is he listening to local radio when he drives home?
No.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Where my homies?
Where they at? Where they at?
Patrick Mahomes is celebrated often on
Creeping
the program.
through the hood.
I mean, he's like an MVP candidate 4 years
Up to
into
no good.
his first year starting quarterback. However, it's not all positive around Patrick Mahomes. He says that his teammates and Andy Reid often clown him for his voice. Let's listen to Patrick.
I love this team and just how we fight. I mean, we hadn't necessarily been tested in this situation yet, and it just showed that every phase of the ball, special teams, defense, and offense, that everybody can step up and everybody can make plays. And I knew we had it, and I'm glad we got to show it for everybody else, and we're going to keep it rolling as the season goes.
So, Jalen, I have a couple rules. One rule is you can be mean if you're funny. Another rule I try to abide by, but I don't always, is I try not to make fun of people for things they can't control. Patrick Mahomes didn't wake up and say, this is what my voice should sound like today. That's just what his voice sounds like. Is it fair for his teammates and his head coach to clown him for his voice?
I'm glad you guys came with this topic.
If you prepared, you would have known we came with this topic.
The day after I said Patrick Mahomes does not look the way he sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you guys for paying attention.
Is it fair that he gets clowned by his teammates for his voice?
Everything's fair when you're in the locker room.
When you're winning.
Because that's a sanctuary, and you know what to say and what not to say. And things get said in there that prepare you for what's going to be said by fans and media. Please
okay.
Believe me.
Okay, I like that.
Yes.
I like that angle. Jalen Rose, it's time for News That Matters. Jalen Rose, we're both married, so this is going to be hard to hear. Not all wives are loyal to their husbands. There was one woman who was cheating on her husband, creeping. They got an Uber. Uber driver pulls up. The two of them get in the back of the vehicle. The Uber driver was her husband. Scandalous. Jalen Rose, how did she not know that her husband pulled up?
First off, if you're going to be cheating and or creeping, which we're not encouraging in any way, shape, or form, why would you be taking an Uber knowing that your husband is an Uber driver?
That's one question. And number two, let's say it was the guy who called the Uber. I'm assuming she didn't recognize the face and the name in her own phone. But when the car pulls up, don't you notice that, oh, that's the same car my husband has?
Correct. And
shouldn't you be looking over your shoulder if you're creeping?
No question. And so since we're going down this road, let me tell all of the young people out there something.
Okay.
Not only does everything you post on social media relay for public consumption, don't think your DMs are private. Don't think that on Twitter or IG. I promise you, they will be getting hacked. And what you're DMing will be getting exposed.
Is there something you need to get off your chest?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
When we come back, we're going to watch my favorite video of the day. It's Ty Lue, and it's the best. You'll see it after this.
I'll drink your bath water, girl. I'll lay down my jacket so you can walk over a puddle.
I'll never do that. That's what I just don't understand.
I will open up every door for you. I will pay for every bill. But if we come to a puddle, you want me to take my jacket off and lay it down and then have to carry around a wet jacket for the rest of the day? That's just dumb. I would never do that. I would never put down my jacket. What kind of jacket do you think I'm wearing? My jacket's not made of wood.
Ultra. Michelob Ultra. Michelob Ultra. Hey.
It's back. And it's front. No, really. The Triple Double Crunchwrap $5 box is back. And it's still all mains, no sides, with 2 crunchy tacos and a